Good morning, traders and investors. My name is Roger Scott, and I'm the Senior Strategist for WealthPress. Today is Tuesday. It's September 20th. Folks, I'm preparing to go live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Code Breakers. It's happening at 1 p.m. You don't want to miss out. Also, before I begin my analysis, I want to appreciate and thank you so much for those comments you guys have been posting me below this video on YouTube. Please keep doing it. I'll answer them. I'll respond to them. And you can also send me an email at support@marketgeeks.com. Thank you, and let's get into the analysis. So the markets are opening down kind of random. Again, in light of what we've been seeing, I mean, the Dow's been fluctuating between 300 and 700 points a day. So 99 points, 100 points on the Dow is random. Typically, even if the market was not in this environment, anything below 75 up or down for the Dow is random. So in this case, 100 points is not much further from that, and 63 on the NASDAQ is not much either. And by the way, the NASDAQ is below, the futures are below 12,000 right now. Now, just to give you an idea of where we stand today, we have housing starts and permits. We're looking at between, and it's coming out in about 27 minutes, we're looking at between 1.4 million and 1.52 million. The consensus is on the low end, and the numbers are slowing down. Interest rates are going higher. There's just no way to get around that. But I believe most of that is anticipated. Tomorrow we have existing home sales. That's going to be a really interesting report to see what percentage it has slowed down and what the average housing price is. And it'll be interesting to see where it's slowing down the most, in the north, east, west, or south. Tomorrow is the big day. Expect a subdued market. We have the FOMC meeting begins. Today, the Federal Reserve is going to decide of how to position the economy tomorrow for a 0.75% rate hike. Now, a lot of investors and traders are thinking it's going to be 1%, but the odds are still statistically on the table. There's only 1 in 3 chance they're going to raise rates a full handle. The odds are still at 0.75, and I believe that's what the market is pricing in right now. Now, let's get into the analysis, and I'll talk about what's on the table and how the markets are getting ready for all of this craziness, and I mean craziness. So markets have been jittery over whether the Federal Reserve plans to cool the hottest U.S. inflation in 4 decades, and they're gung-ho on it. Might be too aggressive and throw the economy into a recession by pumping the brakes on the ground too hard. I don't think so. I think if they stay at 0.75 this time and one more time, it will be okay. If they go to 1, that'll be a problem, but they know that, and they want to keep things steady. Expectations of rate hike have already been taken into account, and that's kind of what I'm saying, that a lot of this has already been priced into the global economy. So don't expect, unless it's a 1 tomorrow, don't expect too much of a downside. It really is baked into the market. I think we'll get a relief rally because I think a lot of investors and traders are expecting 1%. Federal Reserve, Mr. Jerome, I'll wait till tell you the truth till after I get reappointed, Powell bluntly warned in a speech last month that the Fed's drive to curb inflation might aggressively raising interest rates would bring some pain. Remember transitory, not seeing it, now brings some pain? Oh yeah, we got you pegged, Mr. Powell, you sneaky politician. On Wednesday, Americans may get a better sense of how much pain could be in store. I think it's going to be 0.75. The Fed is expected at its latest meeting to raise its key short-term rate by 0.75 of a point, 3 times its usual amount, and that would put us to the 3.325 range, the highest in 14 years. And I think interest rates for homes are like at 6% now, which isn't low, it's medium. Japan reported its consumer inflation jumped 3%, its highest level since 1991. Ouch. But well below the 8% reading. The U.S. core inflation, excluding volatile fresh food prices, climbed 2.8%. Not going well anywhere in the world. I'm just hoping that China can get past this COVID outbreak. U.S. companies endured its worst week in 3 months last week, following a surprisingly hot report on inflation, and big companies including FedEx reported against a worsening trend in the economy. But I don't know if Amazon agrees with FedEx. FedEx is not responsible for shipping the entire world. Investors will get another update on the housing market tomorrow and today when the National Association of Realtors releases August figures for sales of previously occupied homes. That's this report right here. And we're waiting for housing starts and permits, which is actually a bigger report. But I don't think it's going to be that big in light of what we're seeing with the market right now. Average long-term U.S. mortgage rates have climbed above 6% last week for the first time since 2008. That's what I was talking about. The higher rates could make an already tight housing market even more expensive. It will. And this will increase pressure on existing and new home sales. That's just how it's going to be. If we look at the major sector, and I've already explained to you, we're down about 1%. But if you look at volatility has been holding on. It hasn't, the market's been going a little lower. It's been having a bearish sentiment, but volatility looks like it's peaked out. The bond market has still, look at this, the low on Tuesday last week when we had a big day was 106.24. The low today is 106.25. And I'm curious to see if we're going to break this down. Because so far, I mean, yes, we broke this trend, but I wouldn't necessarily call this type of a breakdown. I would call this more of like a little gyration, which means the odds are we're going to go higher. Keep your eye on the bond market. Very, very important. Keep your eye on the bond market and keep your eye on consumer discretionary. If the bond breaks lower, you're going to see consumer discretionary break lower. The fact that consumer discretionary is holding up here is very, very positive. The fact, and I mean this, the fact, look at this. Look at Russell 2000. 27% of stocks are trading above the 200-day moving average, right? Look at the S&P 500, 28%. Not all that much different now, right? Now look at the Dow, 28%. Look at the NASDAQ, though, 17%. Techs are weaker than the small caps right now. And that doesn't last long, but that's a very, very bullish sign. I want to show you something interesting. And a lot of people aren't talking about this. And I'll talk about this more today in my webinar that I'm having at 1 o'clock today, the Code Breaker class. But I want to show you guys something. Look at the Russell. The Russell barely went up since 321, and it peaked at 11.5. Look at the S&P. It was still going up. It was still going up this entire time. This period, the Russell was just sitting sideways. This thing peaked 1. So not only did it peak 2 months after the Russell 2000, but this entire period it was going up while the Russell was just sitting sideways. The only reason it went up here is because we got excited about Biden being reelected because it was good for China, which meant it was good for these stocks. But then it started going right back down. The point is, the Russell started pricing in squirrely behavior almost a year before the S&P. Look at this choppiness, right? Which tells me that we're going to get out of here on the Russell a lot faster. And also, again, if you look at the Russell, we are right now still trading a little bit higher than the rest. So I'm hopeful that we're going to start seeing some upside on these stocks. Now, Stock Fetcher, the stocks that I wanted to show you something else. Remember, we had 20-day breakouts. We had like 450, and like we had like 2 weeks ago when the market was making swing highs. We had at one point 400-something stocks making 20-day breakouts and 20 stocks making 20-day breakdowns. But I wanted to show you this from a few days ago. 1 second here. Let me show you this. Look at this. 345 yesterday. 345 were making 20-day breakdowns, and 16 were making 20-day highs. That's a reversal of what we saw 2 weeks ago, right? Matter of fact, I can go here and show you about a week ago. Let's see here. Let's go back a month ago. Yeah, it's when we were coming up right here. Let me see if I can capture it. Let me see if I could capture. Yeah, there we go. 364 right here, right when we were coming up. Look, 364 versus 9, right at this window, right at this window, right at this window, right at this window. At the window right where we peaked out, right? Look. 2 versus 364. And let's look at this yesterday, Friday. Here. I got to be specific. Yeah, look at that. 345 versus 11. So very, very similar, which makes me believe the market is going to come up, not down. Now, remember, today is what? Today is Tuesday. Tuesday, I give you the strongest stock in the strongest sector, weakest stock in the weakest sector. So let me do that for you right now. Right now, if you look at the S&P 500, you will see very, very simply that the leading sector is utilities. Lagging sector is communication services. What's the leading utility stock? Quanta. I love this stock, and I think it's going to go and make new highs and go back to the 150 area. Weakest stock, communication services, Charter. Now, I wouldn't be selling Charter right now. I would wait for Charter to get to the 418, 430 level, and then I would sell it. So not ready yet. I think it's going to pull up. It's a little overdone right now. I think we're going to have a rally, and then I think it's going to come down. I think the market is going to assimilate a 0.75 rate hike already in its price, and therefore I don't think tomorrow's market action is going to be as significant as a lot of traders believe. Also, if you look at momentum levels on the broad market and you look at stocks trading above $2, you will see that the market just doesn't have a lot more downside pressure from where we're at right now. Look at that. This is where we're coming off. So I don't think the market's going to bounce back too hard to the downside. I think it's actually coming back up. And if you look at the NASDAQ 100, which we briefly talked about earlier, you will actually see that we are all the way at the bottom. Also, real estate sector. Real estate sector is looking really good here. Look at this. 6%, 6%, 6%, 6%. Look at the number of stocks in the real estate sector. So I think it's way overdone, like way, way overdone. So I think we're going to rally. I think stocks are going to go a little higher. The question is how much? Let's get past this report. Let's see what the Fed says. But what I believe is going to happen is this. I believe stocks are going to go back up to the 200-day moving average and not break down further. And I think we're going to see a rally from the consumer discretionary sector taking stocks higher in the next few days. It'll be very interesting to see if we can get past the 200-day moving average. But on consumer discretionary, the new resistance is now the 200-day moving average, and the new support is the old resistance, which is a positive sign. Also, the fact that Russells are outperforming the big stocks for the first time in a couple of years is also very, very positive. Now, folks, I've got something big for you today. At 1 p.m. Eastern Time today, that's right, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going live with a very, very special world premiere of Code Breakers. That's right, Code Breakers. This is your first exclusive look at one specific candlestick pattern that's boasting a 100% win rate on 146 stocks to be exact over the last 5 years. 100% win rate on 146 stocks over the last 5 years. And our pattern trader, the one that trades the S&P stocks, it's been on fire. We took another profit yesterday. Of course, this is based on backtesting, and you can't expect a 100% win rate forever. It just doesn't work that way. It wouldn't be fun if it did. It wouldn't be called trading, right? It would be called raking in the big bucks. But I'm honestly shocked at the results, and I can't wait to share all this with you. You can use the link below this video in the YouTube channel and sign up for a reminder, or simply bookmark it and use it for getting inside the room at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Folks, I've been working on this nonstop for 4 months. It's called Code Breaker, and you guys are going to love it. It's a world premiere, and you're going to learn the one pattern that hit a 100% success rate on 146 stocks in the last 5 years. Oh yeah, it's like that. Bring your notebook, bring your paper, and post notes below, post comments below this video. I live for that stuff. Bye, guys. Have a great, great day. I'll see you guys at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for world premiere of Code Breakers. Bye.